Hello, everybody. Christian from Treasure Town here, and I'm super excited, joined by Spencer from Miller Ancients, and we're going to be talking about 7 Athens tetradrachms, there's also 2 pharaonic Egyptian tetradrachms that will be included, but going over a bunch of different history on them. I always enjoy having them on, and you've all enjoyed it as well, so looking forward to learning today. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me.
So I think we're going to start with these and then go down this way. For a little context on the sale, you purchased these from Roma Numismatics, which is an auction house in I assume Europe somewhere.
Yeah, it's they're in London. I'd like to give a quick shout out to them. Very pleasant to do business with. I had a couple problems with a third party shipping carrier, and they were really helpful in resolving that. And I just highly recommend Roma Numismatics.
But certainly a cool coin. I guess that we'll start with. It's sort of the Athena Owl AOE. This is the classic tetradrachm. I've even seen them, and I hardly know anything about ancients. But what are we exactly looking at here today?
So the most famous ancient coin is either this example, the Athens tetradrachm, or the Brutus Ides of March denarius, but this coin is probably the most recognizable, particularly that reverse with the owl, and it's actually a theta E, which is the first 3 letters of the word Athens. So that was sort of a way for the city to identify itself. This is, of course, a very proud coin, struck in high relief on both sides. The silver for these coins came from a mine, I think it was about 50 or 100 miles or so from Athens at Laurion, where the Athenians discovered silver around the time of the Persian Wars, so the beginning of the 5th century BC, which facilitated this rampant production of tetradrachms. And in 2018, 30,000 of them were found in a hoard in probably the Aegean area, Greece, Turkey, Macedonia. And since then, they've all come on the market. And a lot of them are in extremely nice condition. Many have test cuts. Roma's been selling a ton of them from the hoard. Heritage has been selling a ton of them from the hoard. In all likelihood, this is a example from that hoard.
Okay, and can you explain a little bit about what even a test cut is for those who don't know? That's that big gash right there. And is that like a planchet crack or also part of a test cut?
So that thing at the bottom would just be a planchet crack. Every now and then with Athenian owls, and with all ancient coins for that matter, you'll occasionally get sort of like an inconsistency in the flan, and there'll be like a little crack at the edge, but it's not a full-on test cut. But that thing at the top is without a doubt a test cut. It's actually a rather big one. And the test cut was a way for money changers, people who were being paid to test to see if what they were being given was real currency. I would honestly compare the test cut, like making a test cut in a coin, to sometimes when you pay with money, with U.S. currency these days, they'll sort of shine it under a light or put it into a machine. It was a way of verifying that the coin was real, because in the ancient world, very often silver coins and gold coins would actually be bronze and plated. Those are called forays, and this was a way of detecting. What's odd is that sometimes you'll see ancient coins, particularly Greek coins, with 2 or 3 test cuts, and it's like, well, how couldn't you have realized after the first test cut that it's actually silver?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, well, cool. We'll move on to the next one after that, I guess, which looks pretty similar at first glance. But I'm sure that there's something, maybe there's nothing about it, in which case we could note that. The test cut looks a little bit different, doesn't seem to go all the way through the coin, and maybe there's more that I'm missing here.
So you noted that something might be different, and you would be correct in that. While that coin is an official issue of the city of Athens, it might be good to show them side by side. This is a Near Eastern or Egyptian issue, probably Egyptian. As you can see, the imitation, which is the coin on the right, looks very similar to the official issue. It's a highly skilled imitation that copies the original very well. There are some slight things that you can use to detect the differences, one of which I find the cheek is a little rounder. It's a bit more of an archaic style on the Egyptian issues, whereas on the And if you don't know what an archaic style is, that's just the style of art that was prevalent in Greece in the 6th century BC, whereas these coins are more of the classical period, and the coin on the left is very classical, whereas the coin on the right is of a slightly, I guess, more primitive. I mean, I personally love archaic art, but it's slightly different, and they both have test cuts because this was just very common at the time. And the owl is largely of the same style. I usually don't notice very many differences with the owl.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that additional info. I guess we'll move to these for the next one. Great. So let's see what we've got inside. Our first one. Ooh, this one looks, relatively worn. Should we leave them in, or do you think...
We can leave them in, yeah.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Cool. Yeah, so this one, again, seems just more worn. Was it common for these to really circulate a bunch, or is it all the hoard stuff that comes out super shiny like the first coin we saw?
So I actually would venture to speculate that this may not be a hoard example. It just doesn't really have the type of patina that immediately strikes me as, although since it's sold by Roma, there's a good chance it is. You ask, was the Athenian owl a coin that circulated widely? And the answer is yes. In fact, no other coin in the world circulated as widely as this coin at the time. The Athenian owl, the period of peak production was from the mid-5th century, around 449 BC, until 404, when Athens lost the Peloponnesian War to Sparta, had to pay large war indemnities. Much of the city's fortifications was destroyed, and the production of owls greatly decreased. But during that golden age of the last 50 years of the 5th century, this coin circulated not just in all of the Greek city-states. Remember, there was no unified Greece at the time, but all throughout the Near East, and even further. Owls have been found in India. I think owls have been found in Southeast Asia, and owls have also been found as far west as Morocco. So it was really the first dollar, the first euro, the first multinational currency.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, I guess I'll move on to the next find here. Or it's probably, I should probably use the term buy or just coin. I want to be careful. Let's see. Such just in handling them, so much thicker than any of the coins that are being produced today. And this one, this flip has been, I think it'll be worse if I handle it in the flip versus out of it. But this one, it looks like is the head like slightly different, or no, it looks the same. But maybe just more of a white appearance. Is it common to see test cuts that don't go through the coin, or that go all the way through, or any
what do you
commentary
mean by all the
there?
way through?
Like on the first one, on this one, which I'll be careful with. It seems like it's cut all the way. It's a much deeper.
That's
cut.
a huge test cut. This is a much more standard test cut, and the this pharaonic coin right here is also more of a standard test cut. This coin is a perfect example of the 2018 hoard. They all have this type of frosty white silver patina. Like I can say almost with 100% confidence that this coin came from the 2018 hoard.
Okay, gotcha. Any other commentary on this before we move to the next one?
I mean, it's the standard tetradrachm. You did mention the weight, which I would like to mention. The Attic standard for the tetradrachm was just a little under 17.2 grams. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I've always found so remarkable about this series is that while, say, Roman denarii vary, quite a bit, maybe 10 to 20, maybe sometimes even 30% in this deviation from the standard weight, the Athens tetradrachms, despite the fact that hundreds of thousands were struck, almost never are more than 0.1 grams, a tenth of a gram, deviant from the standard weight. So you'll almost never see tetradrachms heavier than 17.25 grams and almost never see them lighter than 17.10, which I think is amazing. I mean, that's such a standard of precision, and they all look like the exact same.
Yeah.
And they had to, because it was a coinage that spanned many nations and thousands of miles, so...
No, definitely when you think about some of the breakdown of the Romans, I would think, probably a lot has to do with their devaluation of the currency, or, maybe it's more of a symptom. But anyways, we'll go to our next, I forget if it's one or two in here, but these ones, I don't know, it looks at a longer distance a little more crude, or is that just wear, or what are we?
You say a little more crude, and it's another pharaonic Egyptian imitation, so you seem to have a pretty good instinct with these. This one is pretty worn on the obverse. This example I would probably grade low VF. Mm-hmm. But Egyptian coins, I've found the market tends to be more forgiving of Near Eastern and Egyptian imitations in low grade than official Athens issues. And the reason why is because there are just so many Athenian owls from Athens. Hundreds of thousands were struck. I would say at least 60,000 survive today, and there are just so many in mint state, so many thousands in AU and XF that there's not really tolerance in the market for Athenian owls that are in VF. But when it is an Egyptian coin like this, that's a little bit more scarce, it still will hold its value despite the fact that it's got a test cut and some wear on the obverse.
And how would you value a lot of these coins? How would you value this one, for example, and then maybe how would you value the most recent one that we looked at that was, definitely the Horde example?
Yeah. So this example is probably about, on the left, is probably about XF, if you could just go to the obverse.
Be careful holding this.
Yeah, I'd say about XF, and without the test cut would probably sell for around $500. With the test cut, it takes a significant devaluation, so maybe it's more in the 350 to 400 range.
Okay.
This coin is much more worn, and it has the test cut, so it's probably about VF. And if it was an official Athens issue, it would probably worth low $200, 200, 220, but since it's Egyptian, might get around 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed just on this coin, I'm not sure, just commentary, a little bit of like a scratch in the form of an X. How would that impact the value of a coin like this?
So that would be considered graffiti and would, hurt its value. Graffiti hurts most ancient coins' value unless it's very interesting graffiti. Like I've seen on Byzantine gold coins, sometimes you'll see a person's whole name written out in Greek as the graffitis.
Wow. I could imagine that adds a cool layer of provenance that you wouldn't see.
We might want to pass over that one because it's just another Athens issue, so we can get to the last one, which is the nicest of the group.
Oh, sweet. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Whoa.
Yeah.
So you can, I think, definitely appears very, very nice. Really minor. Is that a little planchet crack and not a test cut?
Yeah, that's a little planchet crack. That wouldn't be a test cut. I'm going to send it to NGC. I'd be pretty angry if they called that a test cut. I doubt they will.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably grade this coin XF, maybe choice XF on a good day, 5 out of 5, 4 out of 5. I paid $375 for it, and I think in a holder, just given with what they've been selling for, I think I can get at least $500, maybe $600.
Wow, that's really exciting, and definitely speaks to that value increase when you don't have the test cut and you have a nice appearance. It's just so cool to be able to hold this sort of material in my hands and talk over one of these. I view it as the iconic ancient coin. I know you were mentioning the Ides of March coin. I couldn't even bring that one to mind, but I've definitely seen these, so really thankful.
The Ides of March coin is not remotely affordable. Even in the worst grades, it'll still be a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. But the Athenian owl is thankfully very affordable to the average collector. In fact, the Horde, the influx of 30,000 specimens, has not decreased the price of this coin. And I was speaking with a colleague of mine at Heritage, and he said if there's one coin that could withstand 30,000 new pieces coming on the market and not see a decrease in price, in fact see a slight increase, it's the Athens Tetradrachm, because it's just such a timeless coin.
Definitely. No, I wonder how many more people get to own that and then become more interested in buying nicer examples and continuing to maybe it may. I wonder, that would be a cool video if we could see the long-term effects of something like that. Like maybe it's slower price growth but steadier price growth. I have no idea. But thanks for joining us. Any other commentary before we get ready, I guess, to film our next video? In all honesty, for the viewers, we've got some really cool buys that Spencer made. But yeah, anything else?
No, it's just fun to talk about one of the all-time classics.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I'll see you soon, Spencer. Thank you so much for being a part of this one.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Treasure Town, and get in touch with me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, check out my website, treasuretowncoins.com, for news and updates related to the channel and collectibles in general. Lastly, there's a link tree in the description with links to all of my other sites, as well as some affiliate links that can support the channel. But with that being said, Have a great day, and I'll hope to see you on some of my videos in the future.